natural that you just contain it where it has started. I want to ask the Cabinet Secretary. He has said that the government of Kenya and the government of the US signed an agreement way back in 2015. And in 2019, there was Corona, which was a global problem. We didn't see the US come out, the way they have come out now, to construct a Corona isolation center or a center to help the Corona people who are infected by Corona in Laikipia or anywhere in this country. And if they have, probably the Cabinet Secretary can tell us. About this Ebola thing, I want to ask the Cabinet Secretary. You know, it's very unfortunate that we saw a US Secretary of State in Washington declaring that they will not allow even one single case of a corona-infected US citizen, I mean Ebola, set foot in America. So if they are infected in Congo, they will not take them to treat them in America. They will not treat them in Congo. They will bring them to Laikipia. And you know, members, allow me to say this. You know, the people of Laikipia, we have never healed from the aftermath of colonization. We still feel that even today we are still being colonized because half of our land went to the British colonizers and it later on went to their citizens, and we have never regained a single inch of the ranches they took from us. And now they want to bring Corona. And you know, I mean Ebola. And you know, I'm just saying because I represent people who are concerned that if Americans are to be flown to Laikipia Air Base to be treated there, what happens if this disease, God forbid, you know, leaks out and probably people around Nanyuki are infected by Ebola? Will the American government take charge and treat the Kenyan citizens the way they would like to treat the American citizens? That is one.
You've made your point. There are many interests.
Let me finish.
I can't allow you to continue making a speech.
I'm finishing. Finally, the concern also is we have a lot of tourism in Laikipia. And as I speak now, there is a lot of cancellations by the people who are traveling to the lodges of Laikipia. Can the Cabinet Secretary tell us how are they going to communicate to the citizens? Because probably most of this mayhem is because of miscommunication. Whose message is it that the citizens are getting miscommunicated by people who are not in authority to give that information to them? Why should the people who are in authority didn't give the correct information to the citizens of Kenya and the citizens of Laikipia?
Thank you, Sarah. Mere Mase. Avoid the temptation to make speeches. Ask questions.
Thank you,
Yes.
Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, and I thank you for giving me this opportunity because I'm from the border to Uganda, and my people are more at risk. My question is, I have listened to the PS, to the CS, I'm very sorry, to the CS. I have a concern. The ministry officials were in Busia County, Teso South at Alupe Hospital with a proposal to convert Alupe Hospital into an isolation center for managing Ebola. Honorable Speaker, I do not have any other hospital to serve the people of Teso South. None. It is only Alupe Hospital. So I want to tell the CS that we will resist that Alupe Hospital cannot be made an isolation center for Ebola. Whereas I support the government initiative for preparedness to protect the people of Busia because we are at the border, let another venue be identified to build that isolation center. But Alupe will not be converted, Honorable Speaker.
Robert Mbui. Minister, I hope you are recording the members and the questions.
I have to.
Mbui.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, listening to the CS, he was very clear when he said that Kenya has no cases of Ebola. And Mr. Speaker, the ministry should endeavor to ensure that Kenyan citizens are safe, because that is the purpose of this ministry. Now, we know that Ebola is highly contagious. There is this agreement that he says there is, because of sub judice, he cannot maybe table it before us. But Mr. Speaker, I want to ask him to just clarify. In that agreement, which is between Kenya and the US...
He didn't say that. He didn't say he cannot table. In fact, the
because
agreement
he has not tabled, Mr. Speaker.
The agreement is here.
Oh, we have it, okay.
Yes.
Or the court case, the matters
He said
that are
he will not delve
contained in the
into
court
matters
case.
sub judice.
So, Mr. Speaker, I wanted to just find out, where in that agreement does it say that we can expose Kenyan citizens at the expense so that we can be able to save citizens of the US? It's very important that he points out that, because in my opinion, I think that cannot have been something that this House would have passed. And Mr. Speaker, finally, I also want him to clarify, is it true that this center that is supposed to be built in Mount Kenya region is supposed to be only meant to be used by US citizens and not Kenyans? He needs to clarify that for us. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, NDINDI NYORO.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for this chance. And direct to the point, I have listened to the CS, and there is actually no space in his speech about the view of Kenyans. I'm yet to meet one single Kenyan who is in support of having this quarantine in Kenya, Honorable Speaker. And it is important for the government to know that the government exists for the welfare of Kenyans. And Kenyans know when their space is being cropped, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the US budget in terms of health is 860 times ours. Their technology is better in all respects, including biotech, Honorable Speaker. They have better capacity to handle these kind of issues than Kenya. Honorable Speaker, while the CS is here, I would request him. Kenyans have spoken in one voice. We do not want that facility of Ebola here in Kenya. Please listen to the Kenyan voices. And Honorable Speaker, as the CS is here, the CS should actually bite himself and the obligations to what the Kenyans are looking forward to. Lastly, Honorable Speaker, in terms of the fragility of our health sector, and also listening to some officials from the US proclaiming clearly that they do not want any case of Ebola in their country, how reckless would the government be in doing exactly the same that which the country, that is the US, do not want in their soil? As Kenyans, we refuse. The government must listen to Kenyans and desist from having this quarantine in Kenya.
Yes, Mama Zamzam.
Asante Mheshimiwa Spika, na mimi pia niweze kumwelezea waziri ndio
desist from having this quarantine in Kenya.
Yes, Mama Zamzam.
Asante Mheshimiwa Spika, na mimi pia niweze kumwelezea waziri ndio Ebola na kujitayarisha ni kitu kizuri sana, kwa sababu hawa ni majirani zetu, wengine wanatuuzia kahawa umumu, wengine wanafanya nini, lakini iwe ni kama kukinga wa Kenya peke yake waziri. Lakini waziri, ikiwa na mimi nataka niwaambie hata wale wabunge walikuwa hapa, kwa sababu inasemekana hiyo ilipita hapa bunge hapa na NDINDI NYORO ulikuwa hapa kwa hii bunge. Kwa hiyo ni vitu ambavyo mngeweza kukataa wakati ule ili isiweze kupita, mumpatie rais wakati mgumu. Waziri, mimi napenda kusema tu kama Mwamerika amekataa kule kwake, hapa Kenya tukubali, na nasikia katika counties 20 ambao walikuwa wamekubali, Mombasa ilikuwa moja wao. Kama mama Mombasa, sitaki kuona mzungu kule anatibiwa Ebola. iwe kama itajengwa ni ya kuangalia watu wetu peke yake. Waziri, sisi ni kitu kizuri na tuna support kama tuwe na preparedness, manake sisi ni majirani, huwezi jua, na wanasema ina spray na unyevunyevu either through sex ama maji ama mate, hizo vitu tumesikia, lakini sasa huwezi jua kitu yote za kutokea. Mheshimiwa Spika, kitu chochote chaweza kutokea. Na ikitokea iwe ni sisi wa Kenya peke yetu, isiwe kuwa ni mtu mwingine anakuja kutibiwa hapa, waende kwao ama warudi Kongo kule walipata ugonjwa watibiwe Kongo. Asante sana Spika.
Yes, Ichungwa.
Honorable Speaker, first I don't know whether Honorable Zamzam, but the Deputy Speaker tells me Honorable Zamzam is actually right because the Minister did
But
speak
that's
about
what the Minister said.
bodily fluids.
She simply said what the Minister said.
So bodily fluids
Except
could
the
be
Minister,
transmitted in many ways.
the Minister didn't speak in such good Swahili. Or at all.
So thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, let me first begin by thanking the Minister for this statement, because as Honorable Sarah Korere has said, is indeed very elaborate. And also to note, Honorable Speaker, that at the time this agreement was tabled in this House, I highly suspect the Honorable Aden Duale, as leader of majority, is the one who tabled this report in 2015. And the subsequent one tabled in 2022 was tabled by the Honorable Kimunya, my predecessor, as leader of majority. And it is true that the agreement between the Republic of Kenya and the United States was tabled, debated, and ratified by this House. Therefore, even as we speak, I know there's a temptation, Honorable Speaker, to speak to the gallery. And I wanted to begin by asking the CS to clarify just one thing that he has already said in his statement, but which many of us probably did not hear, or we have blocked our ears from hearing it. And because I have the privilege of having a copy of this statement here, Honorable Speaker, the CS did state that the proposed Ebola treatment and isolation unit at the Laikipia Air Base is part of the 23 similar units to be established in the country as part of our preparedness and response. So I would want first, CS, clarify to us and to the country that we are not establishing one isolation center at Laikipia Air Base. The one at Laikipia Air Base is one amongst 23 others. Two Honorable CS, including some of the ones, the minister did name a few, including one in Busia, was it Alupe or somewhere?
Order. Gone.
Two, Honorable Speaker, I want the minister to clarify to us and to the country something again that he has said in this statement, that this isolation center is not being established for foreigners exclusively. The minister has said that we have 2 Kenyan banks with Kenyans, our sons and daughters working in the DRC, some in Uganda. We have 450 of our armed men, our armed officers, who have given their lives to protect our lives in this country and the region, our region of peace. Should any of those 450 of our officers, our sons and daughters in DRC, God forbid, catch the Ebola virus, where shall we take them? Do we take them to America? Do we leave them to die in the Congo forest? Or do we establish isolation centers as any responsible government and administration would do to make sure that should you, Honorable Speaker, this weekend, I traveled to Rwanda. Honorable Speaker, I traveled to Rwanda as a Kenyan
Yes, Millie, what is
Any
the point
other
of order?
Kenyan would have traveled to Congo.
Yes, Millie.
Sorry, Mr. Speaker, I had to interrupt the majority leader, especially now that I'm in leadership of the broad-based. But I'm just wondering, is the honorable member in order to imply that the United States of America is irresponsible by not setting up their own facilities in America? Because Kenya is responsible setting up one in Kenya. Are you in order implying that America is responsible by not setting up in their own country when they are a superpower and we are a minion power? Are you, even Honorable Buru is still looking for power and you are bringing, are you suggesting that America is irresponsible by any chance?
Honorable Millie, are you saying that America is incapable of being irresponsible?
Mr. Speaker, I am actually asking for clarification. I am not saying,
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, I plead the Fifth Amendment. I just want to know from the...
Okay.
Honorable Speaker, in direct response to my sister, Honorable Millie, I am very well versed with our standing orders. I would never allude to the irresponsibility of a friendly nation on the floor of this House. I will not do that. But my point was, Honorable Speaker, back to my point, that as a responsible country, should we or should we not have isolation centers? Because this disease, we can't run away from the fact that it is there, and it is there in our neighborhood, in this region. Therefore, the question that I wanted the CS to clarify,
Yes.
and I'm saying this, Honorable Speaker, deliberately in a leading manner, so that the CS clarifies for us and for the nation, this isolation center, from what I read in his statement, you know, Honorable Speaker, the problem is that members don't listen, like the member for Aldai is making noise and distracting me. And that is why maybe we may have missed some of the issues the CS has said. Because my understanding, and that is the clarification I sought, was that this isolation center is for preparedness, even to cater for Kenyans who may catch the disease, whether it is a staff of KCB, Equity Bank, or one of our armed officers who are working in DRC. Should they catch the disease, for instance, the military, the natural thing would be, if I was a commander-in-chief or the CDF, airlift anyone in an isolated manner to the airbase, to the isolation center there, to be treated there. But a truck driver, Honorable Speaker, who catches the disease in DRC, in Goma, and probably is detected at the Busia border. Is there a facility at the Busia border? Because I have read about the laboratory testing there. Maybe amongst the 23, the CS should also clarify, where are these other 23 centers to be established? Do we have them around the border with Uganda and where the trucks are passing, both legal and the illegal crossings? Because I see in his statement he's spoken about the legal crossings. But there are also illegal border points. What are we doing? Lastly, CS, on your preparedness, you have spoken about the contact tracing. We're at about 100%, 87% on laboratory readiness, rapid response teams at 90%, infection prevention and control at 56%. But you have also told us that we have kits for the first 200 suspected cases. And that is where preparedness comes in, Honorable Speaker, and I hope the CS can tell us, have you then prepared? Because I've also seen your request. You are saying the first 100 cases will cost about 2.686 billion. Is this money already provided for in the budget? Or should we, as we go to the budget process, now factor additional resources for this preparedness for Ebola? Because the first 200, if we learned anything from COVID, to get from 0 to 1,000 cases would take less than 3-4 weeks. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, I will just seek those clarifications. And Honorable Speaker, let me just close by saying this. Ebola is a dangerous disease from what we have seen. But as a country, we must be prepared. And those isolation centers ought to be there, but they cannot be exclusively for others to use without Kenyans. And I think that's the very critical
Point
clarification. Because, Honorable Speaker, you know, in closing, this country, as Michael Joseph once told us, we have peculiar habits. Now, as politicians, many of us are very good experts in Ebola. And many Kenyans, almost all Kenyans are experts in Ebola. Let us hear from the experts, including the doctors here.
Waziri, let him order.